Welcome back to the Viper Miner channel. Today, I want to go over some stuff that's been happening in the market and kind of my strategy as we approach the September 19th soft date for POS on ETH. A lot of things have been happening in the market, a lot of things, some stuff really nice, some stuff kind of scary. And so I just want to go over those. So let's start out with a briefing on a quick update on Valid. They're still in the middle of restructuring. It doesn't look like that's going to be any promising news out of that probably for years to come. So whenever you do get your money out of there, I'd run for the hills with it for whatever you get. If it's 10 cents on a dollar, get it. If it's who knows what it's going to be. I'm hoping that they honor their crypto clients. I mean, we're considered creditors, and you are always considered a creditor when even with an exchange. Go ahead and read Coinbase's terms and conditions. You as a customer are a creditor, which could be very much part of a bankruptcy. So I would never trust Valid again. I thought they had a really nice product. I really enjoyed it. The problem with that is that they lied to me or lied to us. And when Tryout was having problems, they turned around and said, "Hey, we're fine, we're fine." A couple of weeks later, no, we're not. We're filing bankruptcy. Be transparent. If you're having problems, okay, you're having problems. We need to be honest in this industry if we're going to try to be self-regulated, right? So I'm disappointed in the CEO. I can't even pronounce the guy's name. I think he signed it down here. No, he didn't sign it down here. Anyway, if you get anything out of these guys, whenever that happens, I run. I just take my money and leave. All right. So now some other things have been happening, which is really kind of nice. So if you look at ETH difficulty, so this is a 1-year chart, right? We steadily climbed, and then we dropped. I mean, we dropped big time, right? So we went from 14.43 petahash down to 11.55, and we creeped up a little bit here, but we're kind of, if you go into the week here, clearly some peaks and valleys here, right? And we're actually rolled over again today, it looks like, which is nice. I'm all about that, because if you're still mining ETH, it makes it a little bit easier to make some additional profits off of it. If you look at the network hash rate at the same time dropped. Now, if you look here in June, this is when everything started dropping. If you go back to even the difficulty rate, it's June 27th. A lot of the major electrical companies raised rates right around then. Summer's really hitting. I mean, it's getting, and I don't care what you can redefine the term recession, but 2 negative GDPs in a row is a recession. It has been that way since the dawn of time, and I don't care what the White House does to redefine that. They are so wrong. Just go to the grocery store, go try buying a car. I mean, we are in a recession, period. So I think that's what you're seeing here. I think you see a lot of miners are unable to keep a profit with the increased electric bills. So I think you're seeing a drop off. And I think you're also starting to see people starting to look at other coins. And I say that because now if you go look, I mean, everybody's looking at ETH, right? ETH Classic, I mean, difficulty, look at this, just skyrocket. Wait. Started moving, July 15th, right? So here's, let me get my cursor working here. Here's April, May, where's June? There's June, into June. That's kind of like the same part where we're just looking at ETH, right? So it kind of did, it felt like everything else. I do not expect it to be as deep as a fall as people were coming off because of electrical rates. And that's, because it's not as mined by the number of miners. But look at the skyrocket, right? It skyrocketed. The difficulty rate skyrocketed. So it went from 269 terahash 284, almost a whole 100 terahash. I mean, that's incredible, right? If we look at the hash rate actually, May, June, it fell off and it came back. Now it's backing down a little bit today, but it is definitely where I think a lot of people are going. Now, there's some concern here that I have. One is you have a lot of ASIC miners. Antminer and even in Silicon is looking to do a firmware update. A couple of them are in beta already to actually switch from ETH to Classic. It's not that hard for them to do that because this is a fork off of they forked Ethereum Classic. Well, it was ETH at the time, but they forked it so this way they can handle that hack that they had. But really, code is code, right? So I mean, I disagree with the fork. Let's put it that way. Okay, that's my stance. Let's be true to honest what our crypto values are supposed to be, right? So I am looking at ETH to go through here, and the problem is if too many ASICs come on here, it's going to be hard to make a profit, right? But then we look at Ravencoin. This is when? January 7th this year. Kind of, that was the big drop. And that was a price. I mean, if you go back and look at price, I mean, we dropped big time in Raven. So I do definitely see a lot of people banning Raven at that point. But it was a steady drawdown. We had a little peak here back in June 27th. I think, again, people are trying to figure out where to go as we approach the September date. And we're ticking back up again. So if we go back and look at a week, so kind of down, and then we're climbing back up. All right. So Raven's actually pretty profitable right now. So, and we're going to get into that in a second. So let's Raven hash rate obviously is starting to tick back up. Let's look at Firo. Firo I haven't figured out yet. If you look at Firo, nothing, jacked up. I think this is where a lot of people will start looking at maybe mining it to get a node because it's like a hybrid. So you mine and it's POS. And then it drops off like a rock in June. Again, this is, I think a lot of this has got to do with the recession and the cost of electric going up. But then it spikes here on one day, right? So can I get, it's such a hard cursor. I would say if I go to a week here, can I get that month? There we go. So June 14th, we're here. June 15th is, so June 14th we spiked. If I can find where, there it is. June 14th. So that's the end of June 14th. So we spiked during the 14th and then we start coming back down. So curious to see what's going on there. Even the network hash rate shows the same thing. So I mean, it was miners coming in here. I don't know if that's a blip, because then basically it came, you're right about where we were before the blip, right? So I don't know what that is, and it's on every chart I've ever looked at. Flux is the other one I'm looking at. Again, it's this Flux is kind of like the opposite, so I'm not sure if Flux is like the place to go. Flux is kind of steady across the board for the week, a little down tilt on a monthly year, but on the year, I mean, it's definitely coming down, and it's still coming down, right? It's down to 15K. Same with the difficulty. So what I want to look at now is, where are you going to go, right? So if you look at what to mine, now I see a lot of people use what to mine, and a lot of people put videos out there, and I don't see them using it sometimes correctly, right? So I think what to mine should be moving electrical costs. I think the national average is 15 cents right now, kilowatt, and that's assuming you're not in a tiered area. And most areas are tiered, but let's assume 2080s, 8 gig, or 8 in a rig. 2080s are really nice because again for a 24 hour, so it actually changed again. So Neox. Now this I'm not sure about. I mean, if you're speculatively mining, this could be really good. But if you're looking to spec mine and kind of pay for some electrical, and maybe even expand your farm a little bit, you're going to need something that you can actually cash out, right? This is very difficult. By the time you're done cashing out, you kind of lose a pretty good percentage. So Ravencoin is actually the most profitable right now. So if I take that out, and then you got Complex, I don't consider anything with nice hash. And then Bitcoin's been hovering around here. But if you look through here, ETH isn't until down here, right? Flux is beating it, Ferro's beating it, Beam's beating it, Cero, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Gold, Conflex, and then Ravencoin, right? And that's in the last 24 hours. So this is where you need to look, right? So 24 hours, right? So that's 24 hours, and I don't know exactly if that means 24 hours from the time in which you hit calculate on here, or it's a 24-hour period of the time zone in which what's a mine is in. But if you always use the same matrix, you'll at least get something. So if I look at current profit and current values, and then I hit calculate, notice it changed right now, right this second, right now, current. Neox is first, Complex is second. So if we take that out, Complex is first, and then Raven, and look how Feral jumped up. ETH jumped up a little bit, but still, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coins below. Most profitable, Flux jumped, Beam jumped. ETH hash is still down, or ETC is down here on the 28, and the 2080s are efficient, but they don't run as good on ETH. So let's pull off that and let's just do a comparison with, I don't know, let's say, how about a 3070? And we'll do 8 for a rig. I'm going to hit calculate again. And now look at the difference here. So it really depends on your card, what you're mining on, and what algorithm you're doing. So you really kind of need to start paying attention to this. It's no longer just throw everything on ETH. So ETH is #1 right now, and that's because ETH is outperforming ETC just a little bit in price discovery. And we can see that. Do I have Coin? So if you look at CoinGecko, the desktop's really nice versus the mobile app because it shows you all 3 time periods here. So if you look at ETH, in the last hour is down 0.4, but in the last 24 hours is 0.26% higher. And if you go down to ETH, 0.7 down, 0.42 up on that. So yes, on the 24 hours it's up, but on the it's 0.7 versus 0.7. So that's why it's so close, but yet ETH didn't fall as far on the value of the coin to the USD. So again, so that's the current value. That's currently right now, right? So if I turn around and I say, oh, give me 3 days, or let's do 7 days. Let's say you just kind of hanging around for 7 days before you change your rigs. Because profit chasing is very time consuming, right? To profit chase on a daily basis, I mean, maybe use NiceHash or something that would do that for you. But again, you don't have a lot of control over NiceHash. But if you look at a 3-day or a 7-day, I like to look at the 7-day because I try not to change my rigs over unless there's like a new coin or something I want to go test out. Then, and I have a separate rig that does just that. So if we hit calculate on this 7-day, look at the 7-day. I mean, I'm surprised, right? Bitcoin Gold across the 7 days was the most profitable of all. Hanging right around the top, right? Complex too. Flux, not so much. Ergo, not so much. and I really do like Ergo. I really like Ergo. So I I'm kind of mixed. I have mixed feelings here right now, right? So, but so that's looking at 370s, right? So again, if you look at, I don't know, something a little bit more, some more oomph per se. Um, let's say you got 83080s. Now those are power hungry, right? The 3080s. Did I hit calculate? I don't remember. I think I did. So ETH is now, because you got more compute power, and ETH is the highest difficulty. You now have the ability to actually mine more ETH at that point, right? So you're looking at 2010 per day, 1319 after power. ETH Classic is 1997, 1306. So again, ETH Classic is right there. It is right on ETH's tail, right? So get rid of that. If you look, I wish I could just turn off nice hash on this. Ravencoin right back here, right? 1889, 1169 afterwards, right? So let's just see, power wise per day, 720, 216 per month on the power. And let's just look at classic out of curiosity here. 207. So the power is actually not too far off from each other. All right, so that's what to mine. And then there's one more calculator I've been using, and I like this 2miner thing. What's nice about this is tying it to their pool, right? So I can put my cards in here. So let's go do the 820 80s, right? And current, let's do the last 24 hours. I wish you could do more than just 24 and current, but in the last 24 hours, Raven's #1 on their pools. Vero, Conflux, and ETH is not until down here. ETH Classic is down a little bit further on their pools, right? So it all depends on how many miners they got, how much hash rate they got, and then how many blocks they're finding, correct? Excuse me. But if I look at current, pretty much, I don't think, so Beam and Bitcoin flipped around ETH here. All right, and that's on the 2080s. So let's do a comparison, and we did 3070s last time. We'll do 8 here again. Current profit, Raven still, Fero, ETH, and Ergo's popping up here. Last 24 hours, so Raven's still #1, Fero's #2. I mean, it's not until you get down here past ETH that it starts moving around. So it's very interesting to see what's going on. Now, when you're looking at trying to find where you're going to put your rigs, notice how I did the 3070s one way and then the 2080s. So let's assume you have both, or a mix of some. So let's say you have 2 of those rigs, and then let's say you have 2 3080s, right? Notice how now Fero pops up, because depending on the card you've got determines what the mix is here, right? And let's say you put a 50, do they have the 57? Yeah, so you got a 56 XT. So let's say you got, half a rig of those. Let's say you got 4 of those, right? Now, 56 XT, is a 6 gig card. So it's already telling you that some of these coins are not going to be good enough. And if you look here, it's that reddish color, right? So when this is being calculated, this is not counting the 57 XTs, those 4 XTs, right? It is counting in here and here. So if you didn't have that Conflux, you're still mining off everything else in the Conflux. So or Cortex, I'm sorry. So if you're looking at Cortex and you're going to mine Cortex because that's the project you want, well, then your 57 should really go somewhere else, right? So where are you? So then you're going to look at just your 57. So that's kind of what I'm looking at and how I'm looking at stuff. I'm also looking at, am I logged in here? Oh, maybe I am. No, I am not. There was a site I found and I can't find anymore that actually just shows you mineable coins, but you look at Litecoin, which has done nothing for the longest time, is actually starting to move, right? And then where did it go? Here's Zelcoin. I mean, this is mineable, but this is really kind of trash. So there's a lot of pools trying to push this, it looks like. And I personally am going to stay away from that. This is not financial advice. But let's just say that you are interested in looking at this. I mean, where's the exchange? So here's the other thing to it. So you're going to have to look at where can you exchange this if you want to pull it out of the wallet and use dollars. So I think that's US based. I know that's not. I'm pretty sure that's not. I've never even heard of these guys. So that's where you have to do the exchange. This is very misleading. These are sponsors. That does not mean that they take this. In fact, if they were, if you can exchange here, these would be in the list down here as well. Sorry guys, I got a frog in my throat. So that means you have to use some kind of simple swap or something to swap it. So now you're also paying a fee at that point, right? So the more times you got to swap something, it's a lot easier if you can just send from your cold storage wallet to the exchange and cash out for your electric bill. Or what I like to do is I use FTX, which since I'm in the US, I have to use FTX US, but I have their they call it a credit card, but it's not really. It's like a debit card. And so you can set whatever coin you want into it, and you can set a backup coin. So I have it set to my USDT, and then so what I do is I move my electric money into FTX underneath the USDT, and then my electric bill comes out on that card. So it works really well. And I have pretty good Bitcoin in there as well. So my Bitcoin's is my backup for that. So it's kind of nice. You can even take a rig and say, this rig is going to pay my electric, and just mine right to FTX, and then just automatically pay all your bills from that way. So it's a lot easier, not paying transfer fees or anything else like that. So that's kind of my plan right now, is to turn around and just kind of look at where I'm going to go. And then I have a goal. So I'm not greedy in the sense of greedy, but I have a plan. You know, I have my plan of where I want to be in the next, 3, 5, 10, and 15 years, right? So crypto is a very big part of my investment portfolio. So let's look at, sorry guys, this is really bright. I wonder if I can do a dark version of this. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't do a dark version of it. So I'm looking at Bitcoin. And again, this is not financial advice, right? So this is Bitcoin versus the USD. All right, so the black line is the T3 Tilson, which is what I use for a lot of my trades. And then this is exponential moving average of 20, okay? And typically what I look for is when the black crosses the green, that's a buy signal to me. And then my exit signals are different. So this is a bearish engulfing candle, so I would already have exited. And if I don't see a candlestick pattern, once it does close below the black line, I do exit out of it. So that's this is a great example of how I would have played this trade, right? And I do this for stocks, Forex, everything, okay? Again, so if you look at the trend, obviously we've been down, but if you look here, black traded above, we're kind of getting squeezed. However, the MACD is still separating, and the MACD is going up. So I'm encouraged here. I'm very encouraged here, right? So what am I? So that's very nice, but that means I need to start timing if I want to expand my farm. Right now, all the equipment is low because Bitcoin's low. If Bitcoin starts climbing again and we start coming out of the winter, which I know is for like at least another year, but if we start moving up higher, because I think this winter's different, we have a massive recession, plus we have hedge funds, mutual funds, day traders, ETFs, all buying into Bitcoin and selling Bitcoin. So there's a lot more volume and activity in Bitcoin than ever before. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for. So now the other thing I like to compare, so that's Bitcoin versus the USD, right? So what if we just, I'd like to look at the futures as well. All right, so see what's going out. Same technical indicators, right? But notice how the Bitcoin versus the USD, this was much more pronounced back here, and it wasn't until here that it got pronounced, right? You still had a bearing off candlestick here. Now, if you look here, this delta, this merge here, this is starting to really come close, right? So this is kind of worrisome to me, and this is a indecision candle. So that means on I think this is gonna close. Yes. Okay, so it's gonna close. It'll close UTC. It won't close New York time. So this has got a couple more hours, and then it's going to close. So this will be pretty much a no decision candle here. So I'll be interested to see what happens tomorrow. Now, granted, it is the weekend. I am recording this on Saturday. It's 1:48 p.m. in the afternoon. All right. And I do want to look. I want to show one more thing. Again, none of this is financial advice. But let's look at Coinbase here. Coinbase obviously is just really kind of dumped, right? But I think I gotta hold the control button to zoom. Yep. How come that didn't zoom? Or am I zoomed as far as I can zoom? All right, so Coinbase has really dumped. If you look here, we've got a little bit of a wedge here, flag, but they're reporting earnings here. And this is August 9th, they're reporting earnings. Estimates for negative 2.44 per share, and their estimated revenue at 879. I think they're going to have a bigger miss. I really do. I think there's some serious problems here with Coinbase. That's my personal opinion. That's my humble opinion, and that is not financial advice. One of the things that I use when I trade, and I do trade, for a living, is I look at some anecdotic stuff as well, right? I look at how much companies are advertising themselves and have they pulled back, right? We're in a recession, but there are companies still highly advertising, right? Their ad spends have not moved any lower. But that's not true. That is not true in a lot of exchanges here in the crypto world. Coinbase, I haven't seen an ad for Coinbase anywhere, not even on Twitter. Nowhere. And they were advertising everywhere. Their ad spend, I think, went to zero. And we'll be able to figure that out once they release their new balance sheet. Crypto.com pulled back some of their ads. They're still advertising, and they're advertising mostly online right now. There's no huge commercials or anything. If you notice, the commercials are gone. I haven't seen a commercial in months, right? But they also spent, would they lock up 9 years or 10 years of naming rights to the stadium, and so did FTX. Now, FTX is still advertising. FTX seems very strong, and not only that, but they're buying companies, and they're expanding their services. You can trade stock on them now, like real stock. And so I look at that as, a sign of strength, right? If you were worried about your balance sheet, you wouldn't be buying other companies and you wouldn't be expanding your services, because that takes infrastructure, that takes money. So FTX, I trade a lot on FTX. So that's one reason we're there, is because I see them as being stronger. The other one that I use a lot is KuCoin. And KuCoin, I think, is solid. Now, granted, I can't look at they're not public, so I can't look at everything they have. But so the ad spend part, I haven't seen anything slow down their ads. Right? They are expanding services. They got stuff going on. People are different projects are getting listed on them. KuCoin, I think is again, my humble opinion, is doing fine. Now that could change. That absolutely. Oops, sorry guys. That can absolutely change overnight. I mean, you can have something that goes bad, and there's nothing we can see, into that. But from the outside looking in, they look strong, right? So I'll use, those are my two go-tos. Now I do use crypto.com, but I'm kind of disappointed lately. For instance, I moved over two rigs and a half onto ETC, and I used two miners for it, and I know I could have switched it to Bitcoin through two miners, but I had to just go right to my ETC wallet in crypto.com, because those were going to, basically what I was taking for the profit for that was just going to go pay my power bill. I normally pay it out of pocket, but I just wanted to go test if I was going to be mining ETC after ETH goes POS, how easy it is to move my stuff over. And crypto.com, it's been 24 hours and it's still pending. It's horrible. I got another one that's almost 48 hours. In about 2 hours, it'll be 48 hours pending. And they say it only needs 500 confirmations. That should have been a couple hours. So I really, really don't like that. Their support, I'm sorry, crypto.com, your support sucks, right? You send a message out there and it's not, and they say, oh, shortly, within an hour. It is a day sometimes before you get back to somebody. And then it's a one-line answer, or it's not even, the guy or girl didn't even look at what the question was. Their support sucks. Good platform, but their support sucks. So as long as you could deal with being on your own, goodbye. Now I had to go, I was curious because two miners uses Binance to do the swap. And so I wanted to see what their confirmation process was for ETC. It's 100, and they say usually within an hour, maybe two, which lines up with two miners actually says on their website. So what I did is I took that same rig and two and a half rigs, and I moved it using a Bitcoin address. So that means two miners will then turn around and convert that to Bitcoin for me. So I'm going to be curious to see what happens. And it's already mined enough to do the payout, but the payout I don't think happens until 7 o'clock in the morning my time. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll tweet out how well that went. But I am very, very disappointed in crypto.com. The other thing I wanted to show real quick, and I know this video is starting to get, and I think I've shown this before. Miner stats, here we go. And if we go to coins, go to minerstat.com, you go to coins, and you can search any coin here and see what's going on. But what I like about this is you get coin statistics, and you got trending coins for the last 7 days, top coins by pool. I mean, so that's really kind of eye-opening sometimes. And then, you know, the typical market cap. Everybody's got the market cap, but this column and this column is very, very interesting, right? So I think the last time we looked here, RTM was like down here. It looks like it actually switched with XMR, but Ravencoin, okay, heavy cash. I think you can mine that. Bitcoin's in the third slot here, and it's in the fourth slot here in the pool side. But you look at it's ETH Classic, Ravencoin. Ravencoin is kind of like stepping up to the plate here, right? I don't even know what the price of Ravencoin is right now. I got a ton of Ravencoin, but I mined a lot of Ravencoin before the halving, and I haven't gone back to it yet. I'm still holding it. I mean, probably should have sold it then because it was it tanked. I think it was around 10 cents, 11 cents at the time. And what's that at now? So Ravencoin. It's at 3.8. So it was around that. So it's 0.4. So it's still down. I mean, Ravencoin is definitely. Yeah. So I think where was the halving? Somewhere. I think the halving was right around in here. Was it in January, end of the year, somewhere in here? I think. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. I just know that after the halving, it hasn't recovered. But we also, after the halving, started going into a bear market. So, and Ravencoin's got a lot of stuff going on, and that's what other things I look at too. So Ravencoin's got a lot going on. There's NFTs there too. Ergle's the same way. That's why I'm surprised Ergle is kind of quiet, right? Flux has got, you know, Web3 going. Flux is very interesting to me. Got all my Flux to go do a Flux node. I just got to get some hardware in. I'm trying to find something that's very cost effective, not only money wise to go buy, but also power consumption as well and reliability. And I'll host it myself. I mean, I'm not worried about my internet connection going up and down. I have fiber here, so it works really well. Plus, I have a backup on a cable modem as well. That's where my rigs are actually on, and it's backed up by the fiber. But so if you look at Ergo, Flux, Ravencoin, and ETC, ETC is starting to move, and ETC got a huge, $10 million investment for Antmine Pool, which is same company owns Antminers. So, and then I think another fund actually invested in them the other day as well. So they got money coming in, so they'll have support. Plus, you're gonna have a lot of devs from ETH gonna be like, twin my thumbs. What am I gonna do, right? So ETH and ETC Classic are very similar, so those devs might start moving over to there. I'm kind of hoping this way we can maybe really get a nice proof of work coin going again. All right, so that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the summer while it's lasting. I know it's hotter than Hades out there. It was 102 again here today. And let's be safe, profitable, and God bless.